Thank you very much, Jat. Yesterday, Vulcun locked down second place with 2 big wins. That guarantees them a first-round bye in the playoffs and a spot in the Season 4 Spring Split. But that number 2 spot could be even bigger for ManCloud and crew. In fact, it could actually mean the world to them.
Yesterday was a really important day for us.
Vulcun securing second place. They are into Season 4. Congrats to Vulcun.
By locking in their second spot yesterday, they are guaranteed a bye in the first round of the playoffs.
Second place for Vulcun is a huge triumph for them.
The reason why second place is so important is because you already get a bye, so if you win one best of 3, you go to Worlds, and you're already guaranteed to go to the next split in LCS.
You're guaranteed top 4. In top 4, there's 3 spots going to Worlds, so you're guaranteed, you're 75% of the way there, and that's like honestly the best odds you can ask for.
Who wouldn't want to just play like one best of 3 less? Like if we win our first best of 3, then we'll automatically make it a Worlds.
Hashtag job security. It's a great feeling knowing that just you're secured in the next season.
A bye in the first round of the playoffs allows them more preparation time for the playoffs, that all-important prep that they need to win their games.
I think the best thing about it is you get to scout out the teams for going into playoffs, because you get to see them play their matches before you play them, and you get to see maybe what they have in store. Because I don't think anybody's going to hold anything back in that first round of like, damn, I don't want to get relegated.
Yeah, it's definitely a distinct advantage being able to watch what games the other teams are playing. It helps us prepare, and we don't have to play a match and then the next day play someone else. We can spend that time preparing instead.
Felt amazing getting second place. We came into the studio and we knew what we had to do, and we said, hey guys, let's just get 2 wins and then don't worry about anything else.
To me, it just felt really natural securing the second spot. I mean, it's a good feeling, but to me, it's just a natural feeling.
Obviously, everybody wants first, but for Vulcun to lock that in, especially after being a team who had to climb the ladder at the back of the last split, shows that they have come very far from where they were, and absolutely our team to be reckoned with as we go into the Worlds.
Every single player on that team is strong individually. They've been playing together for a while now, so it's only natural that they're going to be placed highly, and I feel it's fitting that they're second place.
We put a lot of hours, a lot of hard work, and we're guaranteed the next season we have a shot at Worlds. There's a huge prize pool for that. So yeah, it's definitely going to pay off.
And while all their hard work has paid off big for ManCloud and crew, they still have 3 more games to go this Super Week. And with that, it's now time for our third match of the day. Second place Vulcun versus Team Coast. Yeah, almost.
Team Close.
Team Coast. And while Vulcun has already locked down their spot in the playoffs, Team Coast is watching their postseason chances get swept out to sea after losing both of their matches yesterday.
Team Coast did not perform well in either of their games. They were not close at all. They got dominated by CLG and TSM. Even Zion Spartan, playing on his favorite champion, the previously undefeated Riven, couldn't stop their losing streak. They're now in 7th place and 2 games out of the final playoff spot with only 3 games left in the season. So time is starting to run out for Team Coast.
And now Coast is trying to keep their playoff hopes alive against a Vulcun team that has beat them twice in a row.
The last time they played was back in Week 7, where Vulcun got the dual global combo of Twisted Fate and Shen, which they said that no team should ever lose with, and they didn't lose with it. Plus, they added the Cloud9 duo of Ashe and Zyra for teamfight control, and they were in command of the game from the beginning of it. But now that Vulcun have secured in 2nd place, we'll have to see if they follow Cloud9's sort of strategy that they went with yesterday and play a little bit looser,
right,
or if they want to finish strong and continue with business as usual.
Well, we'll have to see if Vulcun continues to man up or if Coast can keep afloat in the playoff picture. So let's take a look at the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Vulcun. Psycho Sid in that top lane, Smithy in the jungle, ManCloud in mid, Zuna and AD carry, and Bloodwater bringing around the support.
In the red corner, we've got Team Coast. Zion Spartan's up top, Nintendo's in the jungle, Shifter's mid, Don't Mash Man AD carry, and Daydream in supporter.
And ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the game, let's first check out who you guys think is going to win. According to LowlySports.com, 84% of you believe that Vulcun will walk away with the W.
Not a lot of Coast fans out there. That's tough for them because they really do need to make their push now.
It's Vulcun actually, it's the same story. We talk about them, right? Because Vulcun was kind of the no fan team, but they do everything and they kept winning and they got second. They, like I said in the teaser, they came up in the back of the last split. But Coast did the same thing. They were GGU. They're still in this because both of these teams had the same type of run at the end of the last split.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that run started for Vulcun as soon as they got Bloodwater. They've just really just gone uphill from there.
And then Daydreaming.
So, exactly. Same thing with Daydreaming.
Support saviors for these guys.
Both of these teams are very accustomed to coming back in the playoffs. So all that Coast really want to do is get into the playoffs, and then they feel much more confident.
It's something we've heard Nintendo say.
Yeah.
We play great under pressure. And it's not something you hear a lot of people say. You see them, even a team after a very stressful win that's a lot of pressure on them, and they're like, don't want to do that for the rest of the day. These guys are like, bring it on. Let's go.
I think what it is, you hear people say that who don't lose or who lose when they're not under pressure. So other people, like Cloud9's not going to say that because they win all the time. So they win when they're under pressure or not under pressure. But since Team Coast are not winning when they're not under pressure, they're going to have to say that.
See, targeted bans coming out here. It looks like they are trying to stick it to each other. We see the Tristana going out away from Zuna.
Zed day today.
It is Super Zed day today. The Riven's out. A lot of 80 carries getting focused out this week. And not a lot, but at least one in every other game.
And Vulcun have been trending back towards that late game safety net that is Tristana that they love putting Zuna on. So that's actually a really good ban. I like that. And this is one of the few times that we've seen Sona banned against Bloodwater, even though he said that he will always pick it every single time it's available, and he has always picked it every single time it's available. So nice adaptation here from Coast, going at it from a little bit different angle, just banning out the main champions of the Vulcun players.
And you know, when we talk about Zed, we talk about the AP assassin on the other side that you usually see, and that's Ari getting through again on this time. We have seen Ari out of the matchups this week because of a lot of use of her as well.
Yeah, so this is a matchup that I love watching. It's very, very fun in competitive play. Zed versus Ari, both looking for picks and looking for duels. It all depends on the skill shots from Ari, because like while Zed will go in with a death mark, his landing location is predictable. It's the same time, it's the same place every single time. So if the Ari is quick enough, you can use your ultimate to dash back and throw out a charm and hit the Zed every single time to lock up their combo. But if you mess up a little bit, just 1 millisecond, Zed can burst down on Ari very quickly because she's so squishy. So it's very fun to watch.
We'll see what happens with the picks. Zyra and both Zach being picked up. A few of the Z champions coming in on the side. So we got 3 Zs in here for Vulcun. Zyra, Zed, and Zach.
It's a, you know, this is similar comp to what we saw last game here. They've got the disengage there from Zyra for their other 4-man squad, and then the opportunity to go for the re-engages with elastic slingshots if they do go on the offensive.
See what they have. Ashe.
Oh wow,
we could have initiation maybe. They don't. We haven't always seen if somebody picks Zyra, they pick Ashe, right? We saw even Cloud9 start to switch up that combo, which actually made them falter lane because the composition is so strong together. It's like a taster's choice, something that everybody looks for.
And what Vulcun are looking for, with already starting out with the Zed pick, having that duelist and having that opportunity to go with the 4-1 split push, is with your 4-pack, you're always looking to be able to kill minions very quickly, and also deal damage to turrets, which Caitlyn does both of. The Peacemaker as well as her long range are great for that.
We'll have to see. We haven't seen a Lulu in quite some time. This will be interesting. We haven't seen the team fight with a Lulu. We know what she does. It's kind of like, I always like to think her not as a better Janna, but just a Janna, the tiny Janna. You got the shields, you got the slows, you have an ultimate that's going to save some people. This one's a knock-up, not a knockout. We do see the Kazakhs coming in here, which may mean that goes on to Nintendo in the jungle, or we have seen Zion Spartan play him in that top lane.
No surprise here, Coast going with a very highly mobile team composition. I usually liken Coast's sort of team identity to that of Dignitas.
Yep.
Both of them really love the champions with dashes, the very offensively oriented champions. They're always looking for picks. They're looking to split up team fights and create chaotic team fights so they can make use of their repositioning skills. It's nothing different here. They've got very, very mobile champions in all of the lanes, and then they have that Lulu that you're talking about, who's very good in those type of chaotic fights, because whoever ends up taking the damage is the one she'll target with her giant growth ultimate, and they'll put the defense wherever it's needed most.
It's going to be interesting to see how these lanes act. Definitely expecting the 2v1s to happen here. Without Bloodwater having a Sona, that lane has to act different. You don't have sustain from your support coming in, so the trade in damage always has to be in your favor. We may see that being played a little bit different from Vulcun without that heal there.
And while Caitlyn still has, a huge advantage over all other AD carries in lane, it's going to manifest itself in a little bit different way now. They won't be able to push down the towers quite as fast. We still have seen them taking a decent amount of damage, but more so I think we'll see a lot more zoning early in the lane phase, because the towers will be lasting, maybe a minute longer than usual. I think we're going to get that stat for how much longer in 3.10 towers have been lasting than they were in 3.9.
With this addition, I think it's only added a little bit, but it is itself within those games a few minutes.
Yeah.
So once they're all added together, we'll have to see what it comes down to. We see Nintendo charging up some Spideys if he needs to. They make their way out of base. The good luck, have fun's come out, and we are into the third match of the day. Coast versus second place Vulcun. Only 20 seconds into this one, and everybody's copying each other.
We have Zach, the only one, a little bit off by himself, and he does not have any wards on him. So it's not like Vulcun are sending out a probe to lay down some early wards here. Just playing it pretty safe.
Getting out the laughs. There's Mash Me over there doing some laughing.
Zuna's got to be careful about this, but Vulcun are very much aware.
That was loud.
When you hear that
was
hook
loud.
over hit.
Psycho said it was loud. We heard it too. He gets charmed down. You see him getting out of this one safe. You do have Cell Division, but they know it's coming up in 300 health, so.
You have Cell Division, but you don't want to use it.
Best to back up just for this moment. We do see double red elixirs, so somebody was going down in a full engage there. One for Zion, one for ManCloud. It's just a matter of who would have got it first.
Yeah, and Zion was itching for that to be a fight. He's already leveled up, Taste Their Fear, so he's already looking for the isolation damage with his Q. And remember, this is the reason that we haven't seen a lot of Kazakhs recently is because of that rework that was made to make Void Spikes not just the 100% best upgrade possible for him.
Blow you up in one shot.
Exactly. So there's options now. I mean, there's more viable options now. If you do upgrade that Taste Their Fear, the Q, it actually adds a lot of damage now. It adds the execute aspect to the ability. In that it does 8% more physical damage, which is equal to the 8% of the target's missing health. So the lower they are, the better he is at executing people. So he's really good at finishing off now. And if we have Zion on a good game, we're going to see him with a lot of kills.
So ManCloud and Shifter do meet in that mid lane, heading over to Shifter. He has 27 armor, 30 magic resistance, so he's definitely trying to help himself out. There's Psycho Sid taking a few pop shots to the back of the head there. Zion Spartan pops the red elixir early.
The reason that you always pop your red elixir early on Kazakhs is because you want to take advantage of the isolation damage. By popping that red elixir, Psycho Sid cannot stay by the minions and fight you. He has to run away from his minion line, thereby being isolated and adding that extra 45% damage onto your Q.
And he actually just got ignited by Psycho Sid, so he may not have any trouble wanting to go in for this one. Uses the elastic slingshot of level 2 to get out, which he just got a few minions ago.
And Psycho Sid only had that 1 HP potion to go along with his Doran shield. So now he's got no more consumables left in this lane, and it's going to be very dangerous for him.
Oh, Nintendo Dax makes this run. They do see him. Psycho Sid also saw. So we have, Nintendo Dax over the wall. Spider takes the turret shot, so they're positioning well, but they have to wonder how much are you telegraphing this right now. Eve is just coming down. Smithy, he's going to get the pinch in.
Yep, Nintendo's now the one trapped here.
Oh, boys!
Psycho
Sid gets... Oh, the passive is still there. No way. Smithy coming up with that first one. These guys are down here way too long, and they invited Vulcun down for the fight.
Even if that dive was successful, he still has Cell Division. You haven't popped the passive there from Zach, so you weren't going to get the gold off that one. Very good start here for Vulcun, though. Coming down Eve, that's she'll definitely want to take that first blood and roll that into lane pressure and kill potential for every single lane on the map. This is going to make the importance of pink wards even more pronounced than it was before for Coast.
And you can see where they're going with it, right? You want to get Zion Spartan fed onto Zach.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit harder of a task because of cell division. What is that he might get here? With the attack, Psycho Sid goes down, and he did not know that Zion Spartan was camping that brush.
Well, he was running around. He ran that circle around the minions to try and get his blobs back to heal up.
Oh my gosh, what?
My God, the mind games here. Okay, Zion not able to finish off the blobs in time and gets killed by the mini Zac. Beautiful play there by Psycho Sid, all planned. So he was actually wasting time from Zion Spartan by running that sort of circle around the minions that we were like, oh, where are you going?
Take a little
You're going to
damage.
die, right? He's going to pop your thing. He was making Zion take damage from his ranged minions because he was attacking Psycho Sid, so he had the aggro there. And that extra little damage from minions actually was the difference there. So Psycho Sid was wasting his time by just picking up bloblets and healing as much as possible using minion damage to win that fight.
That was the best wake-up ever in League of Legends I've seen. We're going to see Shifter taking some damage here, but ManCloud kind of lost that trade in a bait out for Xmithy. He sees it. Wow, there's a problem next to me. Caution and move backwards.
That's why I really love the Evelynn pickup there as the last pick, because Coast team thrives on the chaotic fights and spreading out the champions over the areas here, whereas Evelynn will actually punish that playstyle. If you don't have wards over all these different spots you're trying to pressure as Team Coast, then she'll be there when you least expect it and make you pay for it.
And it looks like with quick AD, he does not go for armor since he hasn't a shield. He goes for HP to deny that burst from really even hurting him. And Zac's going to heal for more from his blobs with a Giant's Belt first buy because of that kill.
So not rushing for the Spirit Visage, which is...
I don't think it's working the way he wanted it to with the minions there.
Yeah, big one for Zac because of the attack damage there from Zion. And Zion knows there's no cell division this time.
Psycho Sid is like, yeah, I made a mistake. I fought in this giant wave of minions, but he just got himself a kill, so he's got to hang out. Maybe they'll draw Xmithy back down. Look, here's Xmithy.
Yeah, again, no potions, but he can do a good job by baiting. The only thing is, baiting is very dangerous at this point with no cell division, because if Zion gets the kill onto Psycho Sid, it will reset. Oh no, it won't reset his jump. He has not upgraded it. Never mind. He will trade kills there if they go for it.
2-0 on the board. We do see some, not frantic pings, but pings that will keep that top lane safe. Zuna and Bloodwater, who we haven't seen too much of, as these lanes did match up. AD carry support. It's just on the top side. Zion Spartan waiting, bated breath here on the dive.
And this is like the longest range combo that you can have for an AD carry support lane. A Zyra Caitlyn right there. So Don't Mash Me is, you know, doing his best to try and stay in there with last hits. It's a good thing that he can use those Ezreal Mystic shots to get the far away ones, because he can't stay up near the creep line, or else he's going to take harass damage from both Zuna and Bloodwater.
There it is. Psycho Sid gets hit up. He actually dodges a good bit of damage there and does Let's Bounce. Zion Spartan knows he's not going to turn around for the quick kill here. Sid's got all those little health blobs to pick up. Xmithy is going to be doing some denial here of the red buff. And Dude is in the bottom side of the jungle, so he'll realize that happened on the way back up. And really, since the first engagement here coming for Xmithy, the junglers have kind of been in their own jungle. The ganks aren't coming in. It's probably because of these matched up lanes, obviously.
And it's been a great improvement in Smithy that we've seen from last split to this split, that he now times all timers so well. He's so much better at it than he was last split, and it really has showed itself. But since Dude is aware of the situation, it isn't going to be, you know, any sort of buff discrepancy advantage awarded for Vulcun, because Dude makes his way over to the opponent's red, and Psycho Sid is going to see him come through the tri-bush with that ward.
He slingshots himself out right there. Mandatory Clouds, I think his pressure up to maybe help Xmithy alerted him to that, so very good play. Stranglethorn goes down, pops up Daydream, and he throws the ult on himself. And Mashmi is forced to just watch his partner go down. Unfortunately, that turret going to take a good bit of damage, but they have eyes on ManCloud in mid to bring that back.
So, ManCloud going for the all-in on Shifter, but Nintendo's here.
He goes in for the execute. He tries to get the Q down. They're going to give it to Shifter, but no. It actually goes over onto Nintendo.
Not the correct time for that Zed death mark.
Yeah.
He was going for the 1v1 there, and Nintendo, a little bit of BM there. That was a manly fight. comes to turn the odds.
It's great pressure by Nintendo. He had just stolen the red, saw the engagement top, and took advantage of it. Now Xmithy here at cover middle, so everybody picking up the slack that's been happening. Nothing happens for free here. Top turret did get hit up pretty hard, but they got that mid one, so they're trying to react and stay reactionary to everything.
And giving that blue buff over to Shifter is going to be huge for him in that lane, because we just saw, Mandatory Cloud is not hesitating to go all in with his full combo, and Shifter's going to need the mana to be able to spam out his abilities to clear waves and get that cooldown reduction for his ultimate to keep his ulti up. Because without the ulti, he's a sitting duck.
Spirit of the Elder Lizard now coming out onto Xmithy. Not so many Evelyns we're seeing now and then, but when the composition is there, it's definitely built around that Evelyn, around another champion that has assassination on the team. So that coming into play now with Zed. ManCloud getting himself fed here. He's 73 to 76, so mid lane not too uneven. See how that goes. He actually hasn't been getting any roam really for that Zed.
Yeah, he tried to use the the first death mark basically there in the mid lane. Hasn't had
it's been the 1v1,
freedom there to be able to get away from Shifter, because Shifter does a great job of keeping up the threat on that mid turret by constantly clearing the waves.
10 minutes into this one, Nintendo showing presence in the bottom lane as Xmithy looks to manhandle this dragon. He throws an SOS out to the bottom lane. They will be there, but so will Nintendo. Coming in with a pink ward themselves, they litter the area with wards here. And Bloodwater looks to keep himself in position to give them the upper hand. They come over. I don't think they noticed that Lulu was going to be down there too. There goes Syra. Bloodwater's down in this fight, but he's going to be able to get that passive damage out. Not enough to really thwart the re-engage. We'll have to see if they go for Dragon still.
Those are the spread out team fights that Team Coast are looking for here, and they're going to capitalize on this with the Dragon. But Vulcun are doing a great job of not wasting their time sitting around there, and they're actually trying to shove both the middle and top.
17:05 about for that Dragon to come up. Bottom lane will be covered here, so that turret won't go down. They did very well. They didn't lose mid turret. Looks like Vulcun falls a little bit behind on that one, but they're still ahead in gold. We'll see if Coast can continue this little bit of an advantage. We'll have to see if they can grab a turret. Zuna still trying to pressure down in this bottom lane. Looks like they'll try to push this as hard as possible and grab that turret.
With that ace in the hole, it means Nintendo's going to recall here.
Yeah.
And the Caitlyn, Evelyn is not going to leave, so they're going to continue to try and keep up the threat of taking down this bottom turret.
Psycho Sid, you can see the change in the game. So Xmithy coming from the backside. He burst that speed on, but wasn't able to catch. Still, it's going to be Don't Mash Me farming in the top lane, so there's not much long-range attack for these guys to poke Vulcun off the turret. They're getting pokes on the turret, and it's eventually going to go down.
And when you are going for a turret like this, a little trick that you can use to slightly lower the DPS of a tower is right after it shoots, you auto attack the enemy so that you get tower aggro and it targets you, but before it's able to get the shot off, you back out of range, so then it has to re-find a new target, and it's wasted that small amount of time by targeting you, and it wasn't shooting down minion waves. So you gain a small amount of time hurting the turret with
There's
that.
a big blast onto Shifter. There's the Spirit Rush you were talking about to make the right move. Is he going to get the kill? No. ManCloud goes right back for a few bits of 5 HP per attack on that Doran's Blade. He's like, Caster minions, get away from me.
It was messing with some minions there. Didn't quite realize how much damage they did. Had to run away, and Xmithy finishes off those deadly minions for him.
That was scary. Shifter played that one real well, but they did cause him to expend everything on that engagement. ManCloud still has Flash Ignite, and Eve came in using nothing on that. So they have a pretty good aggression, or they're setting themselves up for good aggression in mid.
Another Arcane Barrage going
There's
through
what
the
they were
map
looking
here.
for in the bottom lane.
Suna does finally get that. So that's going to be the second perimeter turret for Vulcun, while Coast have yet to take a building.
That also means vision, Kobe, so it's going to be Vulcun feeling a bit more comfortable as they move in, and those dragons are going to be a little bit more easy for them too.
And when you don't have that vision, it makes this type of team composition that much harder to execute.
It hurts.
Because they're looking for all of these spread out champions and looking to make use of their mobile kits. They have to have the vision of the enemy team to choose good engagements. Otherwise, they're going in blind and they can get counter-ganked very easily.
So 14 minutes into this game, we take a look at the inventories and see, you know, what consideration comes into building a champion. We've seen a lot of Zacs going straight for the Spirit Visage, but up against this 80 carry team, this 80 damage team, I should say, of Zion Spartan, of Ezreal, he's going for Sunfire Cape first for that armor.
Yeah, his lane phase was so close with Zion that he couldn't afford to go magic resist items. You know, even though he'd love to have a Spirit Visage, you're going to build armor when you're going up against the Kazakhs.
A little bit of a tussle in the top lane. Zion Spartan forced out. Nobody gets golems on that one. They're happy to stay alive too. Power in numbers. Actually, it's 1v1s everywhere, and a bully fight in middle and a 2v2. And it looks like, actually, where's the second one on that? It was one down for each side. They lost the jungler and support.
Psycho Sid going in on Zion Spartan here.
One after the other. Psycho Sid trying to just get in and out, denying attack vision from Zion Spartan. He heals himself up. Shifter looks like they're going to have eyeballs on this match. He says, guys, we got something going on over here. Polymorph onto Smithy. Gets hit with a Mystic Shot. Flashes the True Shot barrage. At this point, that's near a 400 damage nuke.
So he stole away the blue, but he did have to burn his flash for that. Actually a decent trade. And I mean, how come it's always the Zyras that these Aries are picking on? Whenever we see these full assassin Aries go out, it always seems to be
Deathfire Grasp, Ultimate Charm,
the plant lady just getting the full brunt.
Looks like they will continue to go at it once again. Shifter waiting for his ultimate to come back up, still waiting on those summoner spells as well, so you can see how cautious he's playing. And here's that engage.
Yeah, let's look at that Ari on Zyra violence, because it just makes you feel so bad for him. Ari's so good against Zyra because her Spirit Rush enables you to easily dodge the skill shot, Grasping Roots, and get out of the ultimate, the Stranglethorn. So that's why they're always able to pick on those pesky plant ladies.
So a 2K gold lead, 2.4K coming in here. 4-3 in turret, or 4-3 in kills, and 2-0 in turrets. ManCloud getting a split push on the bottom lane. One of the games we have not seen teleport in, so these split pushes have to mean something. You're not just going to teleport into a lane, it's going to be a fight.
And Vulcun are the ones that are happy with fighting right now too. They're the ones that are going to be looking to rush it. With all the perimeter turrets going down, they'll now start to exert their control on this coast base.
I figure at one point, Psycho Sid and Zion Spartan are just going to be like, no, we're not even going to try. Just farm what's next to us and walk away. Zion Spartan finally backing there, so Psycho Sid may get some alone time with his top turret, but he has a Smithy to help.
Well, during all these fights, Zion Spartan's using a lot of single target damage on Psycho Sid, but Psycho Sid's got his cape burning and his W also popping minions. So he's been farming up a lot easier with these constant fights with Zion than Zion has.
There's level 2 coming in for Zion Spartan on the ultimate. It looks like they want to engage onto this. Psycho Sid goes for Let's Bounce. I thought he was actually going to hit the slingshot first, but he says this is going to keep me alive. Here's the passive coming up from Cell Division. No, he does not go down yet. He's still alive as he heals himself. There's the Cell Division. Smithy needs to get out right now. He gets exhausted. They want that transfer. It goes over to Mashme. He's now got red and blue, and that is not looking good, but it's looking like a double kill. Good for them.
Perfect. This is hope for Coast right now. That's exactly what they need. They've drawn the kills back to even, and they've got the double buff Ezreal ready with an Infinity Edge just completed.
It's not something you hear every day in Ezreal building an Infinity Edge, but it's gonna work, and there it is. He actually throws out some damage from that last Shadow, but I think the Ignite got him as well.
So the Ahri assassin here for Coast, looking to pick off the support of Vulcan. And then Mandatory Cloud says, I can do that as well. Takes out Lulu. A good answer right there so that Bloodwater doesn't feel so sad. And now Shifter's looking to go for 2!
Oh, the grasping. Oh, wow. Stranglethorn pops him right up, kept him in the place. He could not activate another Spirit Rush with the Stranglethorn on just before that. True damage can't take out an Intendude, but Coast is reacting and adapting very well right now.
That's what happens when both teams are running the assassin duels here. All the supports have to be very careful.
So we see what Mashmi's building here. This obviously tells you, and people knew this, that you don't have to go blue Ezreal. Why don't people build the Infinity Edge more often than not?
Infinity Edge is more consistent damage for your auto attacks and stuff, but the blue Ezreal build is so popular because of the kiting ability that it adds. And they don't really need that right now since all of their champions are so mobile. They've already got plenty of means of jumping around the team fights and repositioning. What they need is more damage to get the resets for Zion Spartan. They have to make, they have to build all offensively here because they need all of their team to be able to burst down whoever they do happen to catch out.
And in a fight like this, we're going from Coast on to Vulcan. Zion Spartan wants to jump on somebody, but how do you keep them from jumping onto you? Where is your focus when you know Zed's going to the back line too? How does Zion Spartan react to this fight?
It's going to be, Ezreal, you're on your own, buddy. If Zed's going to come for you, and you have to be able to deal with it. Because Zion's going to be looking to go offensive.
Right.
If Zed jumps in, they all kill Zed. That's the easy target. They're looking for those squishy targets. So Zion, if they do have that Zed come in right at Ezreal, an Arcane Shift back into the team will allow the rest of Coast to just jump right on Zed and blow him up.
See if they can get this to work in their favor. Easier said than done. The Let's Bounce goes up. A good amount of health on the turret isn't going to allow for an initiation. That's because in the top lane and the bottom lane right now, pushing in, Vulcan has themselves at the front door of Coast Base.
Now, can Vulcan keep some of these recalls from going through? Because they are going to get the bottom inhibitor turret here with only a couple more attacks.
And they're going to actually pinch on the way back into this. Pings go down under the Baron, and that's actually Shifter is thinking that this might happen. They're saying, stop Vulcan from getting back. Kill Zuna right now. Zion Spartan has that in mind, gets that for himself. Looks like he's upgraded as well, so the resets will be coming in if the fight continues. Shifter doing what he can to stop this.
Very, very risky play here from Vulcan. They decided to have him sacrifice himself, and they actually lose 2 kills without getting the Baron.
They've gotten quite a bit here. Psycho Sid goes in. That's going to be the Exarth, or the Ignite there. He goes down. Psycho Sid finds himself. The South Division is down. Mandatory Cloud needs to get out. He's got a lot of energy in that recharge from the blue. Will it be enough? The jump from Zion Spartan. The continuous chase and pursuit and the kill.
Very questionable call from Vulcan there. They wanted to have Zuna sacrifice himself to delay Coast in their base so that they could 3-man Baron. But at 21 minutes in the game, Baron's too strong for that 3-man team. And since Zuna died so quickly, they weren't able to buy enough time. They actually just handed Coast an opportunity to take Baron.
Oh, that was such a nice combination. Everything locked up, stopped up, and taken down along with the Baron. Dude, I hope nobody walks out before that dies, because you are in trouble.
So early in the game to make a call like that.
Oh, Zuna!
To try and trade 2 kills for a 3-man Baron, and Coast able to capitalize on it. Very, very huge misstep from Vulcan right there.
Good guy daydreaming with a smile on his face. He says, I got your back. You actually heard Mashmi yelling on that one. He's like, hey, me. Okay, we're good. 22:08 on the clock, 12-8 on the scoreboard. Exactly the same goal in the hands of each team.
Yeah, he's got 3 people in front of him. One of you guys better block that for me.
The turrets are 6-2 though. That is quite a bit of global gold to still see an equal amount in the hands of each team. The Baron helps. That's going to say it helps a little bit, but still, that's pretty impressive.
Right, so Vulcan having all those 6 turrets down means they are afforded a lot of the map control, but now that Coast have the Baron, it's dangerous for Vulcan to try and venture into that map because Coast team, like we've said, is all based around jumping on people and catching them out of position to burst them down. With the Baron buff too, they're so confident with just roaming around. They can pick up these standing objectives that are still left on the map, and basically these outer turrets are just pots of 1,000 global gold for them to just go around and pick up whenever they want.
Yeah, like you said, those objectives.
Not quite
the map. The map objective free. Well, with the waves they're getting, with all the gold they're accruing per push on these turrets, I'm sure it's near that 1,000 gold. Not even to 25 minutes into this game, and this is where we've usually seen it. Both teams have a few of those second-tier turrets down. A huge push from Vulcun, we have to remember, got them that bottom inhibitor turret, which leaves it open. Baron's down, so that is an advantageous spot for them to go, because there's nothing to worry about halfway across the map besides their base.
Exactly. Now that Coast don't have that much territory to worry about defending, it makes it a bit easier for them to rotate, and they're able to successfully stop Vulcan's top and mid lane's push there, while allowing Don't Mash Me to get some more money down in that bottom lane. And with his Ezreal combining that Infinity Edge with a Blade of the Ruin King, he now also has that disengage that he was missing from going blue Ezreal build in that active from Blade of the Ruin King.
Interesting to see the builds. No crit. He has the attack speed in there, the life steal in there for Mash Me, really just feeling out his own build. Like you said, as the team is going to be doing their own thing. They're comped together, but they're individual when these fights happen. Seeing the other side, it's going to be the Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge coming out for Caitlyn, what you would usually see as well. And it looks like he's also going for that magic resistance so he can get himself sashed out.
So Coast here, they're opting to leave that outer top turret up and instead make the pressure on this inhibitor turret because they want to make use of this Baron buff right now in an exchange. But we won't see them engage in a tower dive because they have no real tank. Everyone's built around assassinating people, and even though Nintendo's built a bit of life, he's not tanky either as the jungler, which is normally where it comes from. So they don't want to do a hard dive. They would only go in on something like a very fortunate skill shot to hit from either Shifter or Nintendo.
We talked about it last game, Kobe. It can look very good for a team, but once you get it to the front side of these stairs, you are choked into that funneled in engagement, and it's so much harder. Turtling becomes easier for that team that's on their heels, and the engagement becomes, like you said, it has to be that jump over, but that means both back lines are going to be in danger instantly.
Right, and if Coast do get that pick, well, there we go. Psycho Sid jumping in.
Right to the back line, as we said before. We can see Mancloud and Bloodwater also transferring to the other side, and they're trying to peel as well as fight. Daydreamer throws down the Wild Growth on himself, and it is going to be Xmithy popping down the crowd control stopper and putting down the kills as well. 12 to 10, 26 minutes even on the clock. Vulcun gets themselves out of their base with a few kills.
No tank for Coast, and also no more Baron buff. That one wearing off means Vulcun not having any of this siege up outside of my base. Great job by Psycho Sid jumping right into the middle because, like we said, there's nobody who could take any amount of sustained damage.
And Cloud still pushing in that bottom lane. Vulcun trying to pressure the advantages they have. Right now, it's that bottom lane across the river. That's what they're looking for. Things where they can pressure, don't have to ward too much because they don't have that money. Maybe just got it off the dragon. They're going to start setting up a bit of a security system before they can really make it outside their base. And that security system is going to be a plethora of wards.
That ward network that they're going to want to set up is what's going to allow their Ahri and their Kha'Zix to go for those pick-off isolation moves. Coast have to be the ones starting out the fight and catching someone off guard with one of their crowd control moves. They can't be the ones on the receiving end of an initiate. Like we just saw in that last team fight, if it's Vulcun who are starting it off and Coast have to use their dashes to run away, then they've got nothing left to deal damage to the high priority targets of Vulcun.
Xmithy using that Dark Frenzy to get himself around. They know that Baron is coming up in a scary minute. That minute can actually mean quite a far run. It's about 10 seconds with tier 1 boots to get from lane to lane as an AD carry. So with these right now. Dark Frenzy can get him back up top. That's why he can play a little careless here. But the team is staying in position to not let that go. Coast, 3 vision wards set up for this Baron coming in 40 seconds.
Yeah, they're prepping for this one very early. They would love to have Vulcun start out on the Baron and then trap them inside the pit so that they can actually pick out their targets and go on the offensive.
Oracle's getting cleared out, heading over to Bloodwater. Oracle on him, Daydreaming. Oracle on him as well. So keeping the support safe in the back while helping them to roam around. We all know your team asks you to go ward, you get caught. Like, I was warding. Power in numbers. Stay with your team. Neither of these guys are taking their hard hats off for the remainder of the game. 28 minutes in. It's pretty much with these turrets being so close, 1 inhibitor turret down, and the base open for Vulcun. The next fight means a big sway in the game.
Now, Vulcun, during that last minute, just kind of hovering around the mid lane, but with Baron not even up, the move for them is to move as 5 to push in that bottom lane. Because of that missing inhibitor turret, Vulcun have so much power on that side of the map, they can force Coast back into a grouping up position where their composition does not shine.
Slowly dictating this fight down the mid lane. They're saying, we don't care where you are right now. We are going to try to take down this turret with the utmost of force.
Recall.
You saw that recall in the top lane starting, which means that's going to be 8 seconds until he gets back to his team. And they are going to be able to push this off alone. Seeing Psycho Sid throw himself in from the left side. Nintendo's very low here. And any more of an engagement could mean a Baron attempt.
Nintendo is so squishy. He does not have very many resistances at all. He went with the spell penetration build on top of his ancient golem spirit right there, and then upgrades the boots into home guards, which doesn't add any stats. So him taking all the damage up front here makes him a non-factor. He has always been running away from the very beginning of all the fights, and now he's gonna have to start this fight at a third health.
Nintendo gets blown up. They saying, once they get here, we're going and initiate immediately. Psycho Sid uses Let's Bounce defensively. He gets hit up. The passive coming out onto this one, you can see it's about half health for him right now as it ticks down. They get Baron in the distraction. Can they continue the fight? It's going to be Zyra going down the right side. No passive from her there. Oh, that's a plant, not even Zyra. Bloodwater's still alive. The chaos get me all excited.
Trading 1-for-1 kills, but it was a Baron for Vulcun. So they'll definitely like that one. Take that trade any day here. It took Coast too long to finish off that Zac. After they popped him into Bloblets, Vulcun decided to just finish off that Baron, and they'll gladly take that trade.
What a distraction. They did it right in front of their eyes the entire time. Having that ward across was such an advantage for Mandatory Cloud. Zed is more than at the capable point of zeroing somebody out in this game, and we've seen Mandatory Cloud start to take that into his hands. It was a slower start of the game for him, but he has known his role as Zed, and he continues to assassinate. Blade of the Rune King, last whisper for him, have been in his pocket for a good 10 minutes now, and he's just kind of trying to resort to other things, keeping that Merc Treads actually onto himself so he can get in and out of these fights because of the crowd control that Coast brings.
But really, the reason that whole fight came about was because of the squishiness of Nintendo, how he took so much damage down in the mid lane.
Oh dear.
That Vulcun went over to start it up around Baron, and then again, he got obliterated before they even got vision of the inside of the Baron pit. It was just a shadow over the wall from Mandatory Cloud, finishing off Nintendo, and he has absolutely done nothing so far.
We see the team actually heard it last game from Saint. Jat asked him, why are somewhat teams shying away from that bulwark with a heavy AP team as well that Curse was fighting against. Coast also fighting against the heavy AP team have chosen not to go with that. Focus a little bit more damage onto Zion, who's not going to build it anyways, but also Nintendo Dex, who we see most people building at least into that carry jungle.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend for Nintendo to build for his own safety right now. He needs to not build for the team. He does not want to go for an Aegis or a Locket. He needs to build very selfish defensive items at this point.
And Spirit Massage is actually not making an appearance yet in the game. They are being crafted, but the fight is now onto the inhibitor, and those items really aren't going to make much of a difference for this fight. 32 minutes in at 13-11, 7-3 in turrets, but again, these teams neck and neck in this game. 4,000 gold lead at this point isn't a core item for somebody. It's spread out too much across the team. So it's this fight happening eye to eye between Coast and Vulcun. You can see neither of them are finding a way into this fight, but they're finding a bit of damage on the inhibitor.
So hard for Coast to pull off this pick composition when Vulcun are not in a position to be picked off. They've got Baron buff, so they're all just going to stick right next to each other and take out the easy exposed inhibitor.
And there's huge reason why they also couldn't go in. Caitlyn, while sieging like that, 3 traps in front of you is such a disadvantage. Somebody's going to run into one. It's probably going to be your AD carry in the end.
Ooh, good attempt there from Don't Mash Me, but not quite.
Dragon's going to be going over quite easily. Coast, we can see them again. Power in numbers as they move on the mini-map around towards the red, towards the golems, getting everything they can, no matter how small right now.
It's interesting to me that Coast have stayed with this type of team. You know, even as the game is evolving, it used to work. It worked back in the the end of the spring split, where they have all of their members build offensively. But if you have no central point of focus to take damage, anyone that's going to receive any of the opponent's abilities, then you don't perform well in the team-based fights. It seems like the success is always for the teams that build their compositions more like, you would see in like an MMO where you've got a tank and then you've got, the
Your
DPS
healer.
and you have a healer and you have ranged DPS. And so if you get the feel of just a more balanced team, then those are the ones that are going to have the advantage in this stage of the game. Coast's stage of the game where they can, roam the map and pick people off and make use of all this damage that they've built has pretty much passed by right now. They're forced to group up now, and that's not where this type of comp shines.
It kind of comes into the factor of whatever you put that comp up against, it has a little bit of the best and the worst. You're not heavy on one side, and that's what allows them to keep it consistent, keep their turrets 4 ahead right now. They are down in kills, but that map pressure is going to start allowing them to do whatever they want. And when you can dictate the game, that's when you know you have the other team in the palm of your hand.
And they're just going to go ahead and pressure both of the remaining inhibitor turrets. And since they have Caitlyn and Zyra as well, actually, they can get a lot of auto attacks off on the turrets just in every cannon minion wave. That will buy them a few shots from each of those champions. And they're taking advantage of it right now very well. Ahri is actually the best choice here for the minion clearing champion, because with 3 ticks of Spirit Rush, she can easily join the fight either at the top lane or the mid lane.
There it is, Zyra throwing out the hard crowd control. You have to consider Zyra really the only one with a hard crowd control. Everything would consider soft as you get bounced around, but it's enough to stop all 5 members from trying to constantly engage. They have a Zion Spartan jump into Wild Growth. They have Nintendo X Repel to Wild Growth with much follow-up, but they can't find it in because of Zyra disengage.
Yeah, Coast, they don't want to fight a full-on 5v5 right here. What they want to do is catch Vulcun out on a bad rotation, because Vulcun are rotating around the different lanes to keep up and get auto attacks off on the turrets. It's up to Coast to pick somebody off on one of those rotations down.
All across the inventories, presence coming in. Zanya is now in the hands of Shifter and Xmithy. So you can bet Xmithy is going to want to dive into that fight even harder and more reckless. There's the average time as we approach it. Vulcan's got about a minute to go on that. And we just hit the Coast average game time. So both of these teams with the same, not focus, but kind of realm and clip of gameplay as they go into it. If a good thing happens, they take it slow. If a bad thing happens, they also know to take it slow.
And we're about to see the next Baron spawn. 5 more seconds here, and the 2 wards that Vulcun left early are giving them advantage of Coast, giving them vision of Coast right now. So they're going to be aware of this, and I wouldn't be surprised if Vulcun tried to do a bait over into Baron instead of trying to force this one down.
And something else we've seen in Super Week is that teams...
Sunfire Cake means they are going to start it.
Oh, they kind of have to. We see something else in Super Week is that teams are using Baron more and more to engage fights, knowing that it has to draw your opponent to it. Before, we just see him walking around it and then disengage.
And what they've gotten is this giant blue blob up in the bottom side turret. Since it's a side lane with those super minions, that minion wave left to itself will take out a Nexus turret. So all they have to do is continue to put the pressure on this Baron and force Coast into a bad spot.
That's something we actually don't talk about very much is the length of the lanes. That middle lane being the shortest one is the hardest for minions to take down because you get double turret shot. The side lanes are direct to the turret.
Exactly. The second turret for the Nexus doesn't start shooting the minions as early.
Right.
So it can take them out themselves.
We'll have to see. I think it's going to be straight down the middle on this one for Vulcun. Man Cloud on the backside. Looks like he gets caught up for a second there. Polymorphed as he went in for an ultimate as well, and he is going to be able to do some damage before he goes down. Those death chambers at 60 seconds, and Coast looking pretty good off the end of that one.
Yeah, they cut somebody out. That's exactly what they need to do, and it was one of the highest damage potential champions that Vulcun had. That was basically as good as it could go for Coast.
I would have taken that ultimate, actually, and let somebody have it, because now the cooldown resets. Who knows, though? They're still going for Baron, so maybe I'm wrong. No, they're just not. They're going to do wards. I am wrong. We'll see how wrong I am. I'll just keep saying it.
You are right all along, Rib. Genius! They're going to go burn this one down, as Coast all recall. They were just waiting to see if they were actually going into base here. Don't Match Me could go for a Miracle Steal, but it's no vision. Very, very, very difficult.
After all of that, they take one away. Mash Me saying, I think I'm missing. Let me try again.
Well, he keeps hitting those plants, so he thought Baron was still up. He was like, oh, I'm hitting Baron still. Let me keep throwing those in.
40 seconds. That's not it. 40 minutes on the clock is how we tell the time. 60,000 gold. Well, 60 and a half right now to 54 and a half. So the gold lead very much so in favor of Vulcun. It's not increasing too much. It's only gone up about 2K since we last called out the goat. It was about 5 or 6 minutes ago. Those turrets still at 7, and it's been 7-1, 7-2, 7-3. So Coast is making progress in the global turret area on that objective, but they have to make sure that Vulcun doesn't get any more or any farther into the base, because with that inhibitor down, it's going to be, or inhibitor turrets rather, it's going to be tough for any kind of defense.
And on Vulcan's side, on the offensive, all they have to do is avoid getting caught out, because they once again have Baron, and they have the better team fighting team. So as long as they are together, they'll be okay. They can easily force Coast to group up around this exposed inhibitor and not have to deal with turret pressure. But what they're trying to do is gain advantage of that by having Mandatory Cloud top to get some extra damage onto that top turret.
Seeds, everything being placed over the wall so they can see. There's a plant. Mashme gets the plant, holding off everything they can. More traps are probably going down this bottom lane. You can see Zuna has already set up one. They're going to keep themselves safe as they have to pressure this bottom inhibitor turret, and they're trying to spread Coast out thin.
Coast can't be spread out thinner than the length of their base, though, which is actually very short. And since they all have those jumps that we keep talking about, they're going to be okay with defending.
A straight shot from the True Shot Barrage is going to go right past the team. They get the inhibitor, which means super minions will spawn in that lane. The other lanes will also get a bit stronger minion-wise. And they are going to do what they can. Smithy taking the Orb of Deception there. So with the turrets there, they have the hold, and Vulcun doesn't want to seem to push more than just the inhibitor down in the bottom. It's a weird pinch to just try and force your way into the base.
This is exactly where we were 7 minutes ago.
Nuh-uh. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
And 7 minutes ago, Vulcun got about 75, 100, and 125 damage on that turret. So we'll see if they can do better this time. Get maybe, 200 damage onto it. Zuna's definitely going to do his part. You got one auto attack down there. They're going to keep chipping away and keep the pressure on both the top and the bottom. Mandatory Cloud gets one! Oh, 2 more shots for this.
There it is, mid-turret taking more. Nintendo tries to get a cocoon out. They are playing the waves very smart on this one. Vulcun is really just using everything on the map to their advantage. They try to go in fast. The speed up on his Ion Spartan. They turn around and they get the ulti from McSmithy. He still has Zanya's. Will he decide to use it in this fight? Noticing he's not taking damage, he tries to play it carefully. They back off. They look to be able to get the kills here. He forces the flash Zanya's, and I think you're gonna go down after this one. Yeah.
This was a good freezing Zanya's right there. Nice move. Psycho Sid still chasing on Shifter, even though he has no life. So the vision
what
is
a shot! He had the ward, but it still looked good.
Beautiful shot with that sling shot.
Dennis the Menace would be proud. 43 minutes into this game, 15-14. The kills are coming into play. Too little, too late, I believe, though. Finally breaking that stale 7 turret mark. They take 2 more. There's only 11 on the map, as we say, and those 2 stand in front of the Nexus for Coast.
Congratulations to Vulcun. Another win. It doesn't look like they're going to let up at all during Super Week here. They are looking to go into...
Ooh. He's doing what he can.
They popped the cell division there.
Valiant effort there. Coast putting out the last bit of damage. Daydreaming giving a good chuckle from Lulu at 43.5 minutes into this one. A 15-15 score. The gold lead took an astronomical jump there at the end of the game as Vulcun figured out how to get through the front door of Coast Base.
Vulcun really looking to head into playoffs with a lot of momentum. They're on a nice streak right now, and they want to keep their spirits up and keep it going just how they've been playing all split long. They didn't do it this time, but there we go, man.
I got some Zach. You hear the Smithy do it. Vulcun all the way you can see. And 10 dude.
Yes.
I think that's what he said. We'll have to see what happens. So that means that CLG earns a playoff spot with this victory that Vulcun brings under their belt. I'm sure that's going to make them quite happy.
So it's that loss to Coast means that Coast can't take it away from CLG, and they're definitely happy to have that one secured.
And you said momentum a few minutes ago, Kobe. It's something that was said about Vulcun throughout the spring split as well. It started with the verbal warfare, the vocal warfare of Zuna. And then in interviews, Zuna said, yeah, we're completely a team based on momentum. So I'd say with this momentum, they're doing pretty good coming out of Super Week and already locking down second place.
They'd love to continue this one. If they finish out the Super Week 5-0, then that will just give them a tremendous mental advantage going into the playoffs.
And it's crazy to think who went 5-0 in our last Super Week. Cloud9 did, and they've already lost the matchup. So you can see how much the summer LCS has changed these teams already. It's pretty crazy. Guys, we got to take a short break, but when we return, Vulcun, Psycho Sid, and Zuna will join us to talk about their perfect Super Week. Then we'll break down the key plays in today's games and update the playoff picture. The NALCS Summer Split will be right back. Don't touch that browser once again.
Welcome back, everybody, to Super Week. I'm Jat, here joined by Psycho Sid and Zuna, who were just victorious over Coast. You want to talk about that game a little bit?
Pretty much, we went in there. They gave us picks that we wanted. And we were doing well early game-ish, and then we just had a really bad decision, and then people started dying, they got Baron, and then we had to do full recover mode, and then once we did recover, we just outplayed them pretty much the whole game besides the little slip up in mid.
Yeah, but ever since yesterday, you guys have been locked up here in the second seed, so you're really just playing for practice in a sense. Do you want to talk about your mindset now, and has it changed since you've clinched the second seed?
I think it's a lot more stress-free for everybody. Or not stress-free. Of course, there's some stresses in the game, but there's a lot of pressure off of our shoulders as a whole. And, yeah, we're just happy if we keep on winning is good. We need to just improve our record a bit, just make it look nice and fancy. Not Cloud9 worthy, but, close enough.
Well, you still got a chance at going 20-8 if you win out the season, so at least you get the double 10 wins or something. But with the rest of the playoff race, I'm wondering what your thoughts are, because if Coast loses one more game, they're going to be in 7th place, whereas CLG is just clinched with that game, and then it's Dignitas and Curse that just both need one more win to get in. How do you think that's all going to shake out?
I don't really know, because Curse and Dignitas, sometimes when I watch them play, I'm like, wow, they're a really good team, and then the next game, they just completely is that really the same team that just played? So it's really just a toss-up. I have no clue who.
Any other thoughts, Sid?
It's pretty much, the same thing. It's just so close. I don't really know who's going to be who's come up on top. And there's still the chance that Coast will come up and pass one of them if they lose their games too.
I actually think, now that I think about it, Curse has a better chance than Dig because they have 2 all-stars on their team.
Well, there you go. They have the European All-Star and St. Fishes, of course. But to go back a little bit, you guys struggled a whole bunch way back in the spring split, but now you've been in second place almost the entirety of the split. Who's improved the most on your team to help you guys make this run?
Yeah, Smithy. I would definitely say it's Smithy and our coach and getting Bloodwater in there too. Like those three things is just, once that happened, we knew that we had the potential to be where we want to be, and we just kept saying, we looked at our weaknesses and we're just like, this is what we need to improve more than anything, and I know we can do it. So that's just how we did it, and it's been working out really well for us.
So then how is Smithy individually, I mean, from your angle, how has he improved, and how did he know that he needed to improve?
He got a lot smarter.
Yeah, pretty
much. How do you get
Not
smarter?
saying he was dumb, but a lot of times he would just play the game to play, just follow the flow and listen to calls. But now he's making a lot more of his own decisions, knowing where to be, knowing where the other jungler is, warning us. Just overall, his presence on the map has tripled probably.
Is that something he's done individually, or have you worked on that entirely as a team?
I would say mostly it's our coach, and yeah, it's the team too, of course, when we're playing. But lots of it's the coach, teaching him what to do and stuff. Because he has it, he just needed to learn it, and now that he's pretty much gone there, I'd say he's the best carnivore jungler, and Meados is the best herbivore jungler.
There we go. So you're saying Smithy would then be the one who tries to kill the enemy jungler more so?
Mm-hmm.
How does he do that?
Well, it comes down to the heroes you play. Like when Meados plays the jungle, he plays Nasus, Zac, stuff like that. He goes in the lane and then he takes the farm because someone dies on his team, and he jungles really quick. And he only ganks when his camps are down, or it's 100% chance to kill someone. And then Smithy, on the other hand, is always taking the risk. He's the always one that's trying to get the kill, always counter invading and stuff like that. And his heroes, though, that he plays can all skirmish really well early game.
Yeah, and we even saw him actually killing Meados in your game yesterday, so that probably felt pretty good. So like I said, I got one final question for you here. Earlier, when there was a Twitter question, who was the most improved player, I thought maybe you were one of the most improved players, but you didn't agree. Why not?
Oh, just because, well, I don't totally disagree with the fact that I've improved over, since the last split. I do think I've become better of a player, but everyone has. But, the most dramatic improvement, as we mentioned, is Smithy.
Okay. Well, thank you guys very much for the interview. Congratulations once again on having that second seed locked up, and best of luck as you move towards the regional playoffs and hopefully world finals. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good time the rest of the season, but we have plenty more LCS action still to come, including a Telestrator clip where we have Freak waiting to break it down.
Thanks very much, Jack. I want to break down actually a battle between Counterlogic Gaming and Cloud9, and this is actually, there's a lot of setup I want to give for this clip, because look at the scoreboard. It's 4-2. There's a 1,000 gold lead for CLG, but now put your eyes towards the bottom. So look at who's got the kills for Counterlogic Gaming. 3 kills on Doublelift, 1 kill on Link. Now look at the scoreboard for Cloud9. They've got the 2 and 0 high and the 0 and 2 balls in the top lane. Now, the combined 2 and 2 high end balls are going to zone out the 4 and 0 CLG members. Look at the map, right? Look what happens here. You've got high, and he's going to engage He-Run Zed and get a Shen ultimate. He's going to get Stand United. Way over on the other side is Nian. He's coming in from the side to help his team fight for Dragon. And you're going to see sort of a 5v5 and a 2v2, sorry, a 3v3 and a 2v2, and we'll see what happens. Let's roll the clip out and watch the engage. The arrow comes in, locks at the back line, high dives in, pause right here. Now look at what's happened. Nian, he's charging up. They're going to have a big, wonderful 3-on-3 fight in the middle. Sneaky, you've got the support right there. You've got Meados as well, the jungler. They're all going to be fighting this big 3-on-3 battle. And then here comes Balls zoning out Link and zoning out Doublelift in the bottom side. And that is really important. So let's roll the clip out and now watch what happens. The 3-on-3 fight. They focus on the Chowster. Chowster's going to die right away. And now one final pause. And look at what happened. Balls and high, they've forced out CLG on the bottom side. And they're like, great, our job has been done. The 4 and 0 carries from CLG didn't fight anyone important. The 3-on-3 battle went wonderfully. Look what's happened. Big Fat LP got stunned. He had to take down Dragon. He has been part of the fight. Chowster's already dead. Meados, Sneaky, Lemonation, they've been fighting at full bore the entire time. Those are the main carries for the squad, and they've done a wonderful job. Roll the rest of the clip out and just watch what happens. Nian's got nowhere to go. He gets rooted in place. At this point, Doublelift and Link know they can't fight anymore either, and it's an easy cleanup at this point. The kills come through, the flash over the wall. Hey, they're all dead, wonderful. But that's just an incredibly well-done team fight for Cloud9. They did exactly what they needed to. Great tenacity by High to engage, get the Shen ultimate, and zone out the major carries. That's what allowed Cloud9 to win that fight. But of course, we have more games on the day, including more from Cloud9. And so to break down the rest of the day, let's send it back to the desk.